Hello there, welcome to another episode of Simply Nerdy. I'm your host, Steven, and today I'm with Andrew.
Hello, it's me.
And we are here to talk more about why the 3DS should die. I'm just
Yes.
kidding, that's not nice. But we are here to talk about, the 3DS and how its 8-year life cycle has been a long time. And I wanted to have Andrew come on. I know you heard my thoughts already. I have a couple more that I had since our last video, but I wanted to focus more on Andrew. So, Andrew, take it away.
Alrighty. So just a quick background. I am a I'm a handheld gaming aficionado. That is what I live for. I love handheld games. And so for me, the 3DS, I have loved it since day one. But is it time for it to go? I think it might have, like all things in life, hit the end of its sweet life cycle here. And I'm just here to share my thoughts on how I think that should play out for the 3DS. And so we added a couple pictures, and I brought with me today two little handheld game systems that I think kind of represent my thoughts on the 3DS and ending its run, and that is a Game Boy Micro,
which I've never seen before, and I'm a Nintendo freak. I don't know how I never heard about it.
And that's part of my thought, too, on this.
Sorry, I didn't want to...
No, sorry. I'm
I just want to throw that in there. I've never seen this thing before. This thing's awesome.
It's a rarity, and that's...
Hold it again.
Yeah, you might hear a little sound bit here with him playing with some of the game on that, but that's one of the things, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys are good at that, but as the Nintendo DS was being launched, Nintendo was a little wary if it would do well or not, so simultaneously they released the Game Boy Micro, which is about, 3.5, maybe 4 inches by an inch and a half, and then it's like a half-inch thick. It's a teeny little game system.
Crazy.
And it plays just Game Boy Advance games. It had to have its own peripherals, like its own wireless adapter, its own Game Boy GameCube. I don't even know if they did that. They might have or maybe not. But it had its whole line of everything just kind of in the background. It was kind of swallowed up and lost to the thunder of the Nintendo DS, which took off and did, as well, if not better than Nintendo had hoped. And so I brought that just kind of to represent, I love the DS, the 3DS, that whole... 15, 16 years of games that it's got, that library. That's, a good chunk of my life. Half or if not more of it. No, it's not more. And, about half or so of my life has been the DS game, and that's playable on the 3DS. And so to see that all go and fizzle out is kind of sad. But the Game Boy Advance also was one of my favorite game systems. It had, in my opinion, the best Pokemon games. It had the fun Mega Man Advance. It had fun Yu-Gi-Oh games. It just had a fun
Metroid Zero Mission.
Metroid Zero Mission and Metroid Fusion. And it had a bunch of Castlevania. It was just a fun system. But I brought that just because it fell in the background, and I think the new 2DS might have been Nintendo's kind of answer to that. Kind of like the Game Boy Micro, but not so much, where it's really cool, it's really slick, condensed, the finest thing they've got, but it's just kind of fallen in the background under the success of the Switch or the DS, where it's swallowed up and, lost. But it's a really cool bit of history. But in saying that, too, I don't want Nintendo to keep focusing on the 3DS and just putting their resources, making something that's really cool, but obsolete at the same time, because the Game Boy Micro, when it came out, as cool as it is, and as much as I really love that handheld game system, everything that it could do, I could do on the DS, because the DS had the Game Boy port too at that time. So it's cool, but it serves no function. And then I guess to counter that, I brought the PlayStation Vita, which is what I'm hoping kind of Nintendo does something like that, where it's, I don't know if Steven, if you've ever played with a Vita.
A couple times.
It's what I want. I don't know if they can do it either, but something where Nintendo has always had that niche of an affordable handheld game system, and while the Switch is relatively, affordable, it's not in the range of what the DS or Game Boys had ever been, or even the PlayStation Vita for that matter. So if they could make something, and that thing in the Vita is pretty powerful, if they could do something like that where it's like a Switch, but it's like a Switch Go, locked on handles, it's not truly a Switch, but it can play the games, it can function, it might be a little lower powered, That's what I'm hoping them to take it. And if they add the features like the Vita has, where one of my favorite things is this thing can cast from my PlayStation 4, or it can hook up to a PlayStation 3, and you can play all those games on that through the internet. It's the coolest thing. Yeah.
Hold on, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's
no way.
So you have your whole Vita library, which has all the backstock of PlayStation, but then it can. So there were times when, I'd played Overwatch on my Vita where I'm just playing and it's casting through my PS4. I'm just laying in bed being lazy, but I'm playing Overwatch, and it has the 3-prong whatever headset thing, so I could chat with my friends while we're playing, and I'm playing it all through my Vita, which was sweet. It's so cool. So that's what I'm hoping Nintendo, instead of focusing on any 3DS type thing and putting cool innovation in it, like the Game Boy Micro, where this thing is innovative, but at the same time obsolete. I guess I'm saying I'm ready for the 3DS line to have closure, have an end, and not waste any more cool resources, but to have Nintendo put that into something new and exciting, kind of like the Vita, but they could make it even better because they're working with the Switch and they've already got a lot of those kinks out of the way.
I want to say something. Before Andrew started, before we started recording, he brought in his 2 props, and I was like, oh, I think I know where he's going with this. And after recording yesterday, I came up with an idea. I mean, we've heard rumors about something like that rundown version of the Switch kind of thing. But I'm starting to think that I like that idea now, because they can still have their affordable handheld that's about $150. Maybe make the Switch, if you need to, make it smaller like the Vita, but I don't even think they need to do that. I
would love it that size, though.
Oh, you would? Okay.
I don't know.
I just thought just have if they just make it so that the handles, the Joy-Con don't come off. Maybe that would ruin a couple games. Maybe
that
would be a problem. But let's just pretend like it doesn't.
I totally get where you're going. I thought about that
Pokemon,
too.
Pokemon, let's go. Oh no, you can totally play that game.
You can totally play it with them attached. That's
have
how
them
I
attached and not have them come off. But I thought if they did do that, I would want it. It could still be docked, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yep.
But you would have to get a dock by itself, another pair of Joy-Con to make that work, and that's okay because people. It's supposed to be a handheld anyway.
And if you're going for
right.
Oh, sorry.
No. Well, if you're going for a handheld experience, that's where you would go. And then if you ever decided that you wanted to have it be a console as well, you could just get yourself a dock for it and plug it in. But if it's small like the PS Vita, maybe they can make a smaller version of the dock. Maybe not buff up the resolution power and make it work that way. Is that
and just have it, I don't know. I was just going to say, too, what I was going to say is that if it's like a family one, you could have the kids in the family, like growing up with my family, we, several of us had Game Boys or DSs, but we all had the home console, and there were games like Pokemon where you could link it up to that. And so in my mind, it's not, Nintendo has always been family oriented and kind of that family hub. So if you have the hub, the main Switch, and even too, if you could just put that in there and it just still has the C port and just plugs into the dock and can dock in a normal dock, even if it does lose some frame rate, it's not the end of the world. Plus, a lot of families would have that home Switch, and then, the kids could have a personal. If that's a solution, I don't know if that's even feasible. I mean, that starts adding up and gets expensive, but I don't know. I
think that's a good way for the 3DS to go, though.
It is good. That's what I've been thinking. Like, and
I'm just like rubbing his hands.
I'm getting excited over here. Oh boy, let me throw some ideas at you. But and honestly, with the Vita, I've loved it. Like I said, you can cast the games, but taking Nintendo, what they've done with the Switch and how, or not the Switch, the Wii with the gamepad, how it connected Bluetooth, you could do that with the Vita. You could have a ton of games. Like, I don't know if you've seen the Jackbox game, where it's yep, and you could do that on the little Switches, whatever they want to do, if they do something like that. But that's, I don't know. I just think that's a dignified way for it to go. Just end where it's at, have had its good run, but then introduce a new affordable handheld that hopefully would work with the Switch. And that's
Has cartridges.
Yep, cartridges. And that's one of the things, like the Vita is pretty reasonable hand size, and the game is about the same size as the Switch one too, so it's...
It's a disc though, right?
It's about the exact same as a Switch.
Wow. Okay.
And so that's... I don't know.
I'll take that out because I'm an idiot. I didn't know
that. But anyway, that's what I was just gonna say. Like, if they could do something like this where it runs on its own, it can hook up to the whatever. It's got the multi-touch. You can play games, download games, and so then like it's just got a bunch of fun games on it. Like Monkey Ball, it uses motion controls too. You got classic games like Castlevania for the PS1. It's got Metal Gear Solid. It's got everything on it.
Sorry, I'm fanboying.
Oh yeah, it's fun. That's
pretty sweet.
And the thing is too, when it plays like its own native Vita games, or when you're playing a PS4 game cast to it, it works great. Oh yeah, the one thing is the volume buttons and then the power are reversed from the Switch, and so whenever I'm playing one or the other, I'll always mix up one or the other and like shut off my Vita when I'm trying to lower the volume or whatever. But like, it's cool. I've had a lot of fun with it.
Man.
Anyway, so this is...
Alright, that's pretty sweet.
And if it had the little like 3DS type circle nubs, I would love that. Those are...
What?
You know, like the little Circle Pad Pros or whatever they call it on the 3DS?
Yeah.
You could have like a completely handheld that doesn't have to stick out or anything. And anyway.
That's pretty sweet.
I
like it. That's a good way
That's
for it
my
to go.
solution.
I love it.
Copy the Vita.
Although I do have to say that I still, too, like most of you, I'm still hoping for like a Switch Pro situation as well. But
like a beefed up Switch.
Right.
Yeah.
But seriously, if they do the rumor wasn't it, like June or by the end of this year, they'd have another edition of the Switch, and people are hoping it's a Switch Pro, but I don't know at this point if that's the thing. If it is, hallelujah. If not, hallelujah again, because maybe they could get rid of their 3DS. I mean, I love the 3DS. And
I love it too.
that. It's one of my favorites. But if they can get rid of that and move on to the Switch fully and do a handheld version of it and make it cheaper, more affordable, then that's yes. And then they could focus all their efforts on the Switch, all their resources, and we could have multiple releases in a year. I mean, we already are, but
nice.
More so,
and then they can focus on, like back in the day when you could get a game released on all consoles, all everything, and there wasn't any watered down much. You remember that, like probably 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day,
the good old days.
Bring us back to that, because a full game that you can play, big depth game, but you can play it handheld. My dreams came true with the Switch, and if they just took it the next step further and polished it up just a bit, completely handheld but a full game, I would be so happy.
I might double dip too.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. Do you have any more thoughts?
That's really it. Just I hope they stay innovative.
Yes, definitely. And that'd be the way to go.
And they've got some good examples from the past. And I guess Andrew's
opinion too. Both of us agree. Oh, and by the way, when I said that, I said in the last video that a lot of my close friends aren't touching their 3DS anymore. I lied. Andrew has touched his 3DS in the last couple days.
I have. I played it this morning.
There you go.
Animal Crossing. I got two of them. One of them's dedicated to Animal Crossing. One plays all my other games. So.
See, you heard it here first.
Animal Crossing Switch. Make it happen.
Oh, we are okay. We need to record that.
I know.
We keep saying that, but we'll do it when the time gets closer.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much for listening. If you like this video, like and comment and subscribe.
Yep. Thank you.
Keep it nerdy.